Hello students. So today we will learn about microprocessor, the 8085 microprocessor. Now you might have heard of microprocessor in your personal computer or laptop. Now microprocessor used for processing the things. So processor is connected with memory, then it is also connected with input output units. So let us see the processor system architecture. Typical processor system consists of CPU, that is central processing unit, then ALU, that is arithmetic logic unit, then control logic and registers. So these are the parts of CPU, that is ALU, control logic and registers. So CPU consists of these three parts. Then processor is connected with memory and input and output interfaces. Now there is a connection between the microprocessor and the input output or memory. So that connection or that transfer of data is done by using address bus, data bus and control bus. So these are the interconnections between these units. Then let us see CPU internal structure of 8085. Now basically CPU is capable of performing these operations. So it will store 8-bit data by using registers and accumulators. Then it will perform arithmetic and logic operations by using ALU. What is ALU? That we are going to see in the architecture. Test for conditions, that is if then. So it can test for the conditions, then sequence the executions of instructions, and then store temporary data in RAM during executions. So these are the tasks that are performed by CPU. Now let us see 8085 CPU internal structure. So here you can see 8085 microprocessor, arithmetic or logic unit, so arithmetic and logic unit, that is ALU. So it will perform operations like addition, subtraction, logical and logical or logical exclusive, increment, decrement, clear. So these sort of operations can be done by using arithmetic logic unit. Then there is a flag flip flops. So it is a kind of register. Then there is a accumulator. So accumulator is a 8-bit special purpose register that is a part of ALU, and arithmetic and logical operations. The accumulator may store the data and execute the instructions with the help of other registers. So here you can see instruction decoded, then this will give input to control unit where control signals will be generated. Then there you can see address bus and various registers. So in the figure you can see data bus, internal data bus, then address bus. So these are the medium which will transfer the data. So this was about architecture. Now you can see the 8085 registers. So basically these are the registers. Now we have seen accumulator and flag register. Accumulator means, again I repeat, it is a 8-bit special purpose register that is a part of ALU, and that is also identified as register A. So in arithmetic and logical operations, the accumulator may be used to store the operand, execute an instruction with the help of other registers. So that is the function of accumulator. Then you can see flag registers, then stack pointers, program counters, the data bus and the address bus. Now let us see 8085 CPU internal structure. So in this figure you can see here B, C, D, E, H, L. So that is the 6 general purpose 8-bit registers. They can also be combined as register pair to perform 16-bit operations, that is B, C, D, E and H, L. Then registers are programmable, that is data load, move, etc. Then accumulators. So as I told you, single 8-bit register that is a part of the ALU. Then it is used for arithmetic logic operations. The result is always stored in a accumulator. Then the program counter. So let us go towards the figure. Here you can see PC, you can see here program counter. Here you can see program counter. This is a register that is used to control the sequence of execution of instructions. the register is always holds the address of the next instructions. So it will always hold the address of next instruction. Since it holds an address, it must be 16 bits wide. Then stack pointer. So in the figure you can see here stack pointer SP. It is also a 16-bit register that is used to point into memory. The memory is registered points to a special area that is called as stack. Now stack is a area of memory. The stack is an area of memory used to hold data that will be retrieved soon. The stack is usually accessed in a last in and first out fashion. So basically stacks work upon a principle that you keep on keeping books on one after another on each other. So whatever books that is at the top, that will be first out. So it is based on that particular principle. Now stock is the area of memory, and the data is retrieved by using LIFO, that is last in first out fashion. Then let us see 8085 and its various buses. The 8085 is 8-bit general purpose microprocessor that can address 16 kilobyte of memory. It has 40 pins and use plus 5 volt for power. It can run at a maximum frequency of 3 megahertz. The pins on the chip can be grouped into 6 groups, that is address bus, data bus, control and status signals, power supply and frequency, then externally initiated signals, and finally serial input output ports. Now let us see bus structure. So initially I told you that microprocessor is connected with memory and input output by using various bus. Okay, so here in the figure you can see here, this is the 8085 microprocessor and these are the memory input output you can see here, and the microprocessor and the memory input output is connected by using different buses. So the 8-bit 8085 CPU or MPU, that is microprocessing unit, communicate with each other using a 16-bit address bus, then 8-bit data bus and control bus. Now let us see the address or data buses. The address bus has 8 signal lines, that is A8 to A15, which are unidirectional. The other 8 address bits are multiplexed, that is time shared, with 8 data bits. So the bits AD0 to AD7 are bidirectional and serve as A0 to A7 and D0 to D7 at the same time. So during the execution of the instruction, these lines carry the address bit during the early part, then during the last part of the execution. So they carry 8 data bits. In order to separate the address from the data, we can use a latch to save the value before the function of the bits changes. Now let us see control and status signals. Now there are four main control and status signals, that is they are ALE, that is address latch enable. So this signal is a pulse that become 1 when the AD0 to AD7 lines have an address on them. It becomes 0 after that. This signal can be used to enable a latch to save the address bits from the AD lines. Now next is RD, that is read active and low. Next is WR, write active and low. So IOM, that means this signal specifies whether the operation is an memory operation, IOM equal to 0, or input output operation, that is input output M is equal to 1. And finally S1 and S0, status signals to specify the kind of operation being performed, usually unused in small systems. Now frequency control signals. These are three important pins in frequency control group. X0 and X1 are the input from the crystal or clock generating circuit. The frequency is internally divided by 2. So to run the microprocessor at 3 MHz, clock running at 6 MHz should be connected to the X0 and X1 pins. CLK, that is out, and output clock pin to drive the clock of the rest of the system. Now steps for fetching an instruction. Now let's assume that we are trying to fetch the instruction at memory location 2005. This means that the program counter is now set to that value. Now the sequence of operation is the program counter places the address value on the address bus and the controller issues a RD signal. The memory's address decoder gets the value and determines which memory location is being accessed. Then the value of the memory location placed on the data bus. Then value on the data bus is read into the instruction decoded inside the microprocessor. And finally, after decoding the instruction, the control unit issues the proper control signals to perform the operation. So these are the steps for fetching an instruction for microprocessor. Now let's look at the exact timing of the sequence of event, as that is extremely important. Now timing signals for fetching an instruction. Now let us look at the exact timing of the sequence of events. So that is extremely important. Now at T1, the high order 8 address bit are placed on the address lines A8 to A15, and the low order bits are placed on AD7 to AD0. the ALE signal goes high to indicate that AD0 to AD8 are carrying an address. At exactly the same time, the IOM signals goes low to indicate a memory operation. At the beginning of T2 cycle, the low order 8 address bits are removed from AD7 to AD0, and the controller sends the read signal to the memory. Now the signal remains low for 2 clock periods to allow for slow devices. So during T2, memory places the data from the memory location on the lines AD7 to AD0. So during T3, the RD signal is disabled, that means it goes high. So this turns off the output tri-set buffers in the memory, so that makes AD7 to AD0 lines go to high impedance mode. So this is how the data is retrieved from the microprocessor. Thank you.